So, like any decent person, I didn't play Batman Arkham Origins or whatever it was called. So I
was such an asshole. You really are.
It looks like I need to teach you some respect.
My question is, okay, so obviously we have the Batmobile like cruising down the street. How big are these streets?
They're wide enough to. I mean, it felt like a chase. It did not feel like it was just one little section of the city.
No. I mean, it looks like the city was, redesigned to some degree to allow you to drive this Batmobile and feel empowered and feel like you have control and the ability to maneuver.
And there's a bunch of cool shortcuts, like through like the subway, like underground.
But could you still, if you wanted to, just traverse it like, rooftop to rooftop?
I think you will a lot.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, they showed that. Like, they actually were like, do you guys want to do Batmobile or do you want to do kind of old school Batman?
I want to do old school Batman.
Yeah, that's totally there. And they have the new, you can use gadgets while gliding now. I think that was their
their
alliteration.
Of the, like the batarangs.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the environment is actually destructible. So even if you're like going through a parking lot, you're coming up on a fence or some guardrails or something like that, you can just plow right through them. You didn't have to be precise and make sure you get through every single nook and cranny. The destructibility that you've seen in a lot of Batman is actually there from that perspective.
But the indestructibility is the Batmobile's like a tank. Like you can take like infinite damage, which whatever. Like it's always fun when you're playing like a GTA and you bail out of the car and it crashes and blows up or something like that.
But it's not like you can have like another Batmobile. Like
he's like a billionaire.
But it's like how many Batmobiles he's supposed to have?
No, but I mean, I'm just curious if it's going to lead to you being a little more sloppy.
Right.
When you're in the Batmobile.
Of course, it's going to lead to you.
Because that's the other thing is like they showed the classic two kind of the two phases of Batman combat where it's like you're fighting a bunch of guys with non-lethal weapons and you fight them all, you do a lot of crazy stuff, combos, blah, blah, blah. But then when they showed you fighting the three guys with the machine guns, which normally, what did they always call it, the silent predator?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're like, you have a new move, you can take down all three of the guys if they're nearby, And I was like,
chaining attacks now.
yeah, so, but it made it kind of, I don't know, it kind of leveled out that tension. I'm just kind of concerned maybe the Arkham Batman games are maybe getting a little more brought into the action highlight. Like the Riddler challenge was basically like Mario Kart on steroids, which is really cool.
Pretty cool.
But
That's not a Riddler challenge.
no, that's the thing. I still like the lining up the stuff or figuring out the
Or
actual
just like
the
you
riddles.
look at the stuff and you're like, oh, how am I supposed
Even
to
though they're
solve
corny,
this?
it's like
Of course, it's corny.
what
It's
two-faced man? Well, and like could it be
It's the
Two-Face?
Riddler. How is that not corny? It's a guy who just sort of
His last name's Enigma.
ask you questions and you figure them out.
I mean, there's always like 300 Riddler trophies, so if 50 of them are driving challenges, I'm okay with that because at least it's not.
Yeah, they were obviously showing off the new stuff.
50 random puzzles.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like I'm dogging on the game. I thought it looked really good. It's just I like, we went on the record. I like Asylum more than City.
I'm part of that.
And this seems to
crew, too.
definitely have more of the kind of the city vibe. The new character, the Arkham Knight, seemed pretty interesting. Obviously, we saw about 12 seconds.
Do we think it's actually a new character? They keep saying
is
it,
it
but
Azrael?
I thought it was either going to be Azrael or Hush,
No, I
but
think
it
it
looks
is.
like it's
I
a new
think it is.
character.
They made a
You're
huge
even
point.
spinning it as Rocksteady has worked with.
But they've gone in and they've sort of like twisted characters around before.
But these are
Yes,
also
it's their own
comic,
continuity.
These are comic books.
Right.
Like you could change anything.
It's their own continuity.
Okay.
But did anything really, really stand out to you? I mean, it seemed like Batmobile was.
Yeah, and it looked really good. There was definitely a little bit of stuttering on the stuff we saw,
Yeah.
but I think they said it was
that's
pre-alpha
forgivable.
and
Yeah,
totally
exactly.
forgivable at this point. The water just running down, like everything looked really good.
Yeah, it's very wet.
And they did some great. There was always a seamless transition from gameplay into a cutscene.
Yep.
Or a scripted moment where
Oh, yeah.
where Batman is talking to Gordon, or talking to Oracle and
Going
like,
into an
going
interior.
into there was always a seamless transition, and I noticed that as being very, very polished and good.
And it obviously has the extreme attention to detail with with their own liberties that they're taking with their own continuity. But there was like some Gotham mainstays that we walked by or drove by, and going into the Oracle Tower was interesting. I thought the little thing between Gordon and like my daughter Barbara is out of the city, and it's like, oh no, she's not. I felt a little corny.
Thank
but
goodness
whatever.
Oracle is
It's a
still
comic book.
here helping us out.
Yeah. I think people are going to really, really like it, and hopefully the extended interview in this very episode will clue people in. I guess the other big thing out of GDC, there's still embargoed stuff, by the way, but the other big stuff out of GDC was all the VR, and then
Which we kind of talked about.
yeah,
right?
but now I mean I
Now
guess
it's
we got to
much
just
bigger.
bring it up one more time. Is Oculus is now owned by Facebook?
Yep.
Right. $2 billion.
$2 billion.
Some of it's
400, yeah, 400 million in cash, and then the rest is stock.
Oh.
So,
You know, it's smart. I think there was a lot of reaction yesterday, and I know I'm the one that said multiple times I'm not really sold on the whole VR thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons I wasn't really sold on the whole VR thing is if you don't have the power behind it to really launch it the right way, it's not going to work, right?
Right.
Like, Oculus is a cool piece of tech. I still think it needs more games and more experiences than just kind of ports of other games, but they were going to have a problem going into retail. Like, you have to show that off to someone.
Right.
And now having this money from Facebook and the power of Facebook and the trust, and I know a lot of people are laughing right now when I say that, but I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about your average consumer, your parents,
Hello, consumer.
your average person that's going to go out and buy this stuff. They like Facebook.
Right.
It's not a bad, evil company that I know a lot of people feel like it is. And I get that people like their privacy, and we know that Facebook is probably going to use this to serve ads and sell microtransactions in games and make them a lot of money,
Sure.
but they're a business, and
Is it gonna
businesses
go
do
down?
what businesses do.
and I think, games is the Trojan horse to get it into the hardcore's house. But long term, it is about those innovative experiences that they want to try to do, and that's like the sporting events, the class reunions, the virtual E3 tour that you can pay $15, to go see. That's Facebook's long-term plan, I assume.
I just remember. Does anyone remember VRML? Virtual reality markup language. It was like late 90s, mid 90s, and it was really early. But the whole idea that everyone was going to have an avatar,
Right.
and all the chat rooms would be, and you're like, low fidelity polys.
Right.
It's just funny because there is all. I know I'm sounding a little negative here. I'm not saying it's not going to take off, but I'm always curious if, how. I know people hate lumping 3D TVs with VR, but things go in cycles and stuff like that, and it's always going to be curious if people are always going to prefer text, or it's like how FaceTime's available, but a lot of people still would rather just talk than
Yep.
stare at someone's face.
Yeah. Or just text.
I'm just still curious if this stuff's going to actually take off.
Well, I said last week, it was like when they did Project Morpheus, when that was revealed officially, VR is still a very hard sell. Like, it is still a very hard sell, but when you pair something as accessible and with as much notoriety as Facebook with it, it becomes easier.
Yep.
So,
But even if they don't, even if they don't pair Facebook with it at all, and Facebook just is investing in another company,
Right.
I mean, we know they will, right? But we don't know how big of an integration.
Right.
Like, they may just see this as a cool future product that's going to make them a shit ton of money, so why not invest in it?